They say the road does not choose who it takes, but sometimes it feels like it does. On a storm-soaked highway miles away from the village that raised him, a truck lay twisted like broken bones beneath the rain. Its headlights still flickered, its engine still hissed, but the man inside would never move again. By morning, the news would travel back to Umudara, to a house built on jealousy, to a stepmother who once starved him, to siblings who prayed for his downfall, and they would cry. Not because he was gone, but because the money was coming. This is not a story of miracles. This is not a story where the good man survives. This is the story of a boy who escaped poverty, only to be hunted by blood. A boy who chose mercy on the road, while cruelty chose him in the shadows. Before he became a headline, before the insurance payout, before the storm, he was just Obinna. And this is how the road took him. In the quiet village of Umudara, where red dust clung to bare feet and hunger was a familiar neighbor, lived a boy named Obinna. Obinna was born into poverty so deep that even hope struggled to breathe. His father, Okiki, farmed a small piece of land that yielded more disappointment than harvest. His mother, Adayeze, was the only warmth in their cold mud house. She believed in her son. "Obinna," she would whisper at night, "you are not meant for this soil. One day you will leave this village, and the world will know your name." But destiny can be cruel before it is kind. One rainy evening, while returning from the market, Adayeze was struck by a speeding lorry on the narrow village road. She did not survive. The village mourned. Obinna's childhood ended that day. A small insurance compensation was paid. It was more money than Okiki had ever seen in his life. And money, when it visits the unprepared, brings temptation. Within a year, Okiki remarried. Her name was Ngozi, and peace left the house. Ngozi came with 2 children of her own, Uche and Amara. She came smiling, humble, submissive. The mask lasted 3 months. After that, Obinna became a servant in his own home. He woke before sunrise to fetch water, cut firewood, and tend the farm. Meanwhile, Uche and Amara wore new clothes bought from Adayeze's insurance money. If food was scarce, Obinna ate last. If there was punishment, Obinna received it. If something broke, it was Obinna's fault. His father saw, but he was weak. The compensation money slowly disappeared. New wrappers for Ngozi, school fees for her children, small luxuries to impress the village. Education for Obinna stopped after primary school. "Let him farm," Ngozi would say. "He is strong." But Obinna had a gift. He could drive. At 12, he was already steering abandoned tractors in open fields. By 15, he could handle any vehicle that had wheels. The road called him. And one day, destiny answered. A wealthy transporter from the city, Chief Balogan, visited the village to inspect farm produce deliveries. His driver fell ill unexpectedly. In desperation, someone mentioned the village boy who drives like he was born inside an engine. They called Obinna. The men laughed when they saw him, thin, barefoot, young, until he started the truck. He handled the heavy vehicle with calm confidence, maneuvering narrow village paths like a seasoned professional. Chief Balogan watched quietly. "Who trained you?" he asked. "No one, sir." That answer changed everything. A week later, Obinna was offered a job in the city as a driver's assistant. Ngozi protested. She feared freedom, but poverty silenced her. Obinna left the village with one small bag and his mother's old scarf. He did not look back. The city was loud, ruthless, fast. But Obinna was faster. He learned quickly. He observed. He listened. Within 3 years, he became a licensed long-haul truck driver, handling 18-wheeler cargo trucks that crossed state borders. He slept in truck cabins, ate roadside meals, sent money home. For the first time in his life, he did not know hunger. He rented a decent apartment, bought decent clothes, built respect. His employer trusted him. Clients requested him. The boy from Umudara was becoming a man of value, but destiny had not finished testing him. One evening, he received a call. His father was dying. Okiki lay frail on a wooden bed when Obinna arrived. Time had punished him. "I failed you," his father whispered. Obinna shook his head. There was no anger left in him, only distance. He rushed to take his father to a big hospital in the city. He paid for private doctors, expensive medication. But regret cannot cure sickness. Okiki died 2 weeks later. Ngozi wailed louder than anyone, but her tears were not for love. They were for survival, because the money was gone. And now the only wealth connected to that house was Obinna. And jealousy was growing. After the burial, Obinna returned to the city. He continued working, continued succeeding. Back in Umudara, reality hit hard. Ngozi's children were grown, but lazy. They had wasted their opportunities. The insurance money Adayeze left behind had finished years ago. Now they watched Obinna drive home during festive seasons in big trucks, bringing gifts, looking successful, bitterness fermented. "He thinks he is better than us," Uche spat one night. Ngozi's eyes darkened. "If he was not alive," she whispered, "everything would return to us." Silence followed. Then a plan was born. Deep beyond the village river lived an old man feared by many, a traditionalist. They visited him at night. They brought money, goats, gin. They asked for destruction. "Not just misfortune," Ngozi said. "We want death." The old man hesitated. "What you send out," he warned, "can return." But greed is louder than warning. They requested that Obinna suffer a fatal accident while on duty, so his company's insurance would pay compensation. As his only remaining family, they believed they would claim everything. The ritual was performed. Dark clouds gathered that night. Far away in the city, Obinna felt an unexplained chill. The rain that night did not fall. It attacked. Sheets of water slammed against the windshield of Obinna's 18-wheeler. Thunder cracked open the sky like a warning no one could interpret. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel. Something felt wrong long before the dashboard lights flickered. Then it happened. The brakes failed, not weakened, failed. The massive truck began gaining speed down a descending stretch of highway. The cargo behind him shifted violently. Obinna's heartbeat thundered louder than the storm. He tried downshifting, pumped the brake pedal, pulled the emergency lever. Nothing answered him. Headlights approached in the opposite lane. He had seconds. If he swerved left, he would crush a small family car. If he stayed straight, he would ram into a fuel tanker. So he did the only thing he could. He steered the truck toward a deep ravine off the highway. The vehicle tipped. Metal screamed. Glass exploded. The 18-wheeler rolled once, twice, and then silence. By the time emergency responders arrived, the rain had softened to a whisper. Obinna was gone. The boy who survived hunger. The boy who survived cruelty. The boy who outran poverty. The road took him in one violent breath. News reached Umudara at dawn. Ngozi dropped the phone dramatically when she heard the words, "Fatal accident." For a moment she froze. Then slowly, she sat down, not in grief, in calculation. Uche closed the door. Amara whispered, "Is it confirmed?" "Yes," Ngozi replied quietly. "He did not survive." There were no tears in that room, only relief. The highway did not change after that night. Trucks still roared across it. Rain still fell when it pleased. Drivers still complained about the dangerous curve near the ravine. But somewhere beneath the layers of asphalt and memory, a life had ended quietly, without justice, without applause. Obinna was buried in Umudara. Within weeks, the company announced the insurance payout, a large sum, enough to change lives. As his only surviving immediate family, Ngozi and her children claimed everything. The village pitied them. "They have suffered enough," people said. If only they knew. Money arrived like rain in a drought. New house renovations, new clothes, parties, trips to the city. Uche bought a motorcycle he didn't know how to ride properly. Amara opened a boutique she didn't know how to manage. Ngozi began living like a queen who had conquered fate. But money earned through blood carries a quiet curse. 1 year later, the house was quieter. The boutique failed. The motorcycle was repossessed. The renovations stopped halfway. Arguments filled the rooms that once echoed with laughter. The payout money drained faster than the insurance that once paid for Adese's death. Greed had no budgeting plan. Uche started drinking heavily. Amara blamed everyone but herself. Ngozi aged 10 years in 12 months. The villagers began whispering. They say the boy was good. They say he never wished them harm. They say innocent blood does not sleep. But there was no dramatic lightning strike. No police arrest. No supernatural revenge. Just slow decay. The worst kind. One evening, Ngozi sat alone outside the same compound where she once starved a child who was not hers. The money was gone. The son she plotted against was gone. Her own children were failures. The silence felt heavier than punishment. Far away on the highway where the accident happened, drivers still passed that stretch of road. They did not know his name. They did not know his story. But sometimes, truck drivers say that when rain falls heavily on that highway, visibility becomes strangely clear for a brief moment, as if someone once made the ultimate sacrifice to avoid hitting another vehicle. As if even in death, he chose others. Life is not always fair. Good people do not always win. Sometimes grass grows. Sometimes it is cut down before it becomes grace, and the world keeps moving. Some roads lead to glory, some roads lead home, and some roads take the only good soul in the story and leave the wicked behind to live with themselves.